Hi. So we are riding along with Parker Gordon.
Hello.
And Denise just found out that there's a second football team in Texas. Who are they, hun?
The Houston Texans. I've never heard of them in my life. How long have they been around? That's insane. I've heard of the Houston Astros.
Oh, they're just new. They're new. They're an expansion team. They've only been around a year or two.
I've never heard of the Houston Texans. That's hysterical.
Oh my God. I got to Google it, but they've been around at least, I don't know, 20 years now.
52 years. And so for the last, let's be honest, 35, I've never heard the Houston Texans. Who do they play? What division are they in? What are the teams they play? Do they play the Bears?
They do not play the Bears
So
normally.
I don't know who they are. If they don't play the Bears, I don't know who they are.
Check the mic and make sure it sound right, boys.
Hey listeners, ever wonder what it would be like to sell everything and travel the country at the tender age of 50? Well, with our last kid off to college and the ability to now work remotely, we've decided to do just that. So we're selling the house, loading up the dog, and hitting every city from California to Florida. We're scouring the country for a new place to call home and dragging you into every restaurant, Airbnb, and tourist trap we encounter along the way. This is the Skip Town All-Stars podcast.
What's up, All-Stars? Welcome to another episode of Skip Town All-Stars. How we doing?
Good.
We have a special guest with us.
We do have a special guest today. She is the oldest kid in our family. We call her Bigsy, P Biggie. We have all kinds of nicknames for her. Ladies and gentlemen, Parker Gordon, welcome.
Hello, guys. I'm so excited to be here and talk with you guys.
It's crazy because you're the firstborn, but you're the last one on the show.
I know. I've been waiting for my moment to shine.
So a little backdrop for all the listeners. We are in Texas. We have a bunch of stories to tell from Texas, but we are in Corpus Christi. We're going to focus this episode primarily on that. Since we're here with you today and you've been here for about 4 months, we know that you have a boots on the ground experience in Corpus Christi. So we're going to just jump right into it. Why don't you tell us how long you've been here? What's going on in your world? What happened after I dropped you off back on Memorial Day?
Yeah. So pretty much what happened was, can I start off with how I got my job? So,
yeah, absolutely. Of course.
People know the background and why I picked Corpus Christi.
Yeah, go ahead.
So I was born in LA and I decided to go to college at Boise State University. And from there, I was in my last semester as a senior deciding what I wanted to do with my life after I graduated. A lot of people wonder what they're going to do.
Yes,
but I felt like
there's 50 somethings wondering what they're going to do.
Yeah. Why do you think Mom and I sold the house? We don't know what we're going to do.
Absolutely. But it was really one of those moments where I realized that, a lot of people were trying to figure out what they wanted to do, but weren't really getting the ball rolling, if that makes sense.
You've always been a go-getter. So you've never wasted time. So what I remember is that graduation was approaching.
Yeah.
And that's when you really started moving.
Well, I actually started applying. So my major was in media arts and emphasis in journalism. And I decided I really wanted to do print journalism. That's what I wanted to do, was do newspapers, write for newspapers and things like that. Well, I realized slowly on that it doesn't pay well. And it's kind of a dying what would you say?
Industry.
Yeah.
There
you go.
There's always going to be a need for print. But as media conglomerates sort of merge together, there are just less and less opportunities out there, especially for people your age.
Yeah. And the opportunities they did have were internships. And I was I was at that point, I had already had a lot of internships throughout college. I had an internship that turned into a job at the Writing Center on campus. Mm-hmm. I interned my senior year at Barstool running one of their social media accounts. And
Barstool Sports.
We're talking. Yeah. And I had worked for Tesla, and I worked.
So you were making good money at Tesla, and you knew that you didn't want that to stop.
Yeah, and it's not just that. I just thought like it was very interesting to hear how all these jobs were like, oh, you're coming out with a degree, we're gonna pay you $9.
Yeah,
and I was like,
So true.
You're kidding me, right? I have a degree. I spent 4 years trying to get this, and you're expecting me to live off of $9 an hour to intern and then maybe make $12 an hour to actually have the job.
Yeah, that's ice cream making money right there.
Absolutely. I was like, I could work literally anywhere and make more money than that. So I found that it just wasn't being a right fit, but I had applied and did so many job applications and interviews, trying to figure out what I wanted to do. Media arts was really nice because it was very broad. I had a lot of classes that were audio classes, but also like editing classes and broadcasting classes, which kind of turns me to where I am now. But, and I even took communication classes and things like that. So, I was able to kind of figure out what I wanted to do within that major.
Oh, so we got our
Money's worth.
Finally. Oh
Okay,
my
so,
Lord.
Really quick, without spending too much time on it, if I remember correctly, wasn't there a class where a speaker came in from the local news station and that got the whole ball rolling for you in this field, because you're a news producer here in Corpus Christi? So am I wrong? Didn't it happen like that?
It wasn't really like that, actually. It was interesting how it worked out. So I had applied to a journalism fellowship type of thing that would be in Arizona.
Oh, okay.
But then they told me it ended up being the company I now work for, which is Scripps.
Okay.
They were having this journalism fellowship. It was a 2-year thing. It seemed awesome because I didn't know what I wanted to do, and it could have been a great opportunity to turn into something else.
Right.
So I applied. Well, the HR guy there reached out to me and was like, hey, I really like your resume. But the thing is, this is only for University of Arizona students. And
so you spent that time filling out the application and all that, and you didn't even realize that it was only for ASU
I didn't
students.
see it
ASU
anywhere.
or Arizona students?
I think it was just Arizona students, period.
People
the
who
state in
residents
Arizona.
in the state of Arizona, or students in the state of Arizona. Okay.
Yeah. And he's like, I really like your resume. And we were just talking and stuff like that. And he's like, I'd love to help you more with your resume, though, and get it top
I remember
tier.
this. Yes.
So we actually met on FaceTime 3 times to get my resume up. And then he was like, you can start applying for jobs within the company. Well, I didn't necessarily know I wanted to be a news producer, but I had heard about it. I had a broadcasting class. So I applied a few times, like a few different locations within the company of Scripps. And that's where another woman reached out to me. And she was explaining to me that I kind of need to start off in a smaller market. Especially if I'm starting off new and never really doing anything like this before.
Sure. Yeah.
And she told me that there was two places, Corpus Christi and San Luis Obispo, that was willing to bring new college graduates on and teach them everything they need to know about news producing.
So what made you, if San Luis Obispo and Corpus Christi were 2 choices, what made you pick Corpus Christi?
The main thing was trying to make my money go longer for myself. I knew in San Luis Obispo, especially California, everything's super expensive. And I had gone over this with Dad.
Yeah.
And we talked about, I mean, I'm not making amazing money as most people
But for
would.
someone your age, you're making really good money.
Yeah, but like, it's not the same as it was, 30 years ago, 40 years ago?
Well, very few things are. So
yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
But, a lot of people aren't like.
Okay, so you knew that the money you're making right now would go further outside of California is what you're saying. Okay, that's why you picked Corpus Christi?
Yeah, that, and also Corpus Christi is a beach town. So I haven't really been around the beach much living in Boise, Idaho.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Being a Southern California girl.
yeah, exactly. And so I miss the beach. And I thought in Boise I would ski and snowboard, and I never once did that. I mean, we did that in McCall once, but in Boise I never once did that. So I wanted to go somewhere where they had activities I actually enjoyed.
Okay.
So
Yeah, it makes sense. Totally.
Yeah.
But so in the run up to that, I remember several panicked calls from you before you were even like, you were more worried about your post-graduation life than you were even your finals and getting out of your very last semester in school.
Yeah.
I remember you were giving me calls and you were just super upset, asking me if you should call person X back that you replied to a LinkedIn job. You submitted a resume on LinkedIn or whatever. And I just said, this is the game. Like, you have to submit all these resumes. So tell me about your mental state leading up to graduation.
I was a mess. I was a total mess. And I tried to seem put together to my friends. But the thing was, and people don't realize that sucks, ghosting just doesn't have to do with like dating people. There's ghosting within the workplace too.
Yeah, for sure.
Really?
Yeah, especially when applying to jobs, they ghost you. I probably applied to, it's got to be like in the 20s or 30s jobs, because I would send my resume in. There's ones that could be quick. I could just send my resume in through LinkedIn, or other ones where I would fill out a whole application, do a cover letter, things like that. Never hear back from them.
Did you ever send a follow-up email like, hey, wanted to make sure you got my email?
A few of them, yeah.
And still nothing.
Still nothing.
Wow. People are rude.
It's a thing.
I think
guess.
it's just really when your HR department's getting inundated off of say a LinkedIn application, you're getting thousands of applicants.
I know, but when a 22-year-old young person sends you a follow-up email, that's usually a star.
Yeah.
Like, you should respond. That's just, okay, that's a bad employee.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just, it seems to be the name of the game now. Like, it seems like even regular, like not regular jobs, but like non-corporate jobs are also kind of like that, where they don't follow up. I was just a mess because I kept calling you, Dad.
I mean, this whole conversation takes me back to a time where Denise and I were selling the house. And there was a particular day where Ellie was freaking out because she was passed over by a particular volleyball program at a particular school. Mia was freaking out because her apartment had just fallen through and she had to look for a new apartment. And everybody knows how that ended. And then you called me right as all that was going on, plus us trying to get the house ready to sell and all that. And you were freaking out because you didn't have a job yet. And it was like a month before, or 2 weeks before graduation. And you were just freaked out. And I kept saying to you, well, just stay at Tesla. Like, you're making good money there until you figure out where you're going to work. And you just wanted out of there so bad. So then you're about to graduate. You're finally going to walk. And a lot of things start happening all at once.
It was before I walked.
Yep.
Yeah,
it was
for sure.
the weekend right before. Scripps called me. The station at Corpus Christi called me. His name is our news director, Jim Bob, called me.
Jim Bob. That's Texas.
It is. And he made me an offer after I had done 2 to 3 interviews, waited for a long background check that took forever.
Yeah.
And he made me an offer, and my parents were like, you don't want to move somewhere that you've never been.
Yeah,
so
we were a little worried about you just because it just felt like you were rushing the process a little bit. And we were obviously concerned, like, what is this job? She's never been there. When they said they would fly you down here and put you up for a couple of days so you could actually see the place.
Yeah.
I was a little more relieved because I knew at that point a job that's going to invest in, sort of bringing you down to check out the area may actually be a job worth having. So
yeah, to be clear, I think what Dad and I, to be clear, I know that Dad and I, when we said you can't take a job in a place you've never been, we actually meant you have to visit it. You can't take a job sight unseen. Some people do, but it's not what we recommend for our daughters.
No. Yeah, I absolutely.
And you're a young girl. Like, what if this area was really bad, like very dangerous? What if it was you know.
Yeah. What if their salary only paid you to live in a place where it's just super sketch?
So for us, we wanted you to actually go visit it before you took the job. And you did.
Yeah, so they flew me in for a weekend, which was really nice. I got to see the station. I got to walk around downtown Corpus Christi. They took me out to dinner one night, and I was able to see the station, walk around it, meet some people, things like that. The area they had me stay was kind of by the beachfront, like where the pier is. It was beautiful. It was absolutely like everything I wanted in a small town type of feel city.
So you had to basically start the day after Memorial Day, if I remember your job. So you and I on Memorial Day weekend got you from Boise with your tattered cargo bag on the top of your car and your kitty cat who wouldn't stop peeing in his crate.
He was scared.
Of course, I understand.
He was a good sport though for a cat.
He was. He would cry for an hour or two after every day we'd put him back in the car. Yeah. And then after a while, he just resigned himself to like, okay, I guess we're doing this. So, but it took us 2 or 3 days to get here. The first thing we had to do was find you bedding, if I remember right.
Yeah. So I had already had like a bed at my place that I figured out.
You're
whole
so
situation.
good like that.
Yeah, she's very resourceful.
You ended up having somebody on Marketplace deliver your bed for you before you even arrived in the apartment. That's like incredible. You're so good like that.
Yeah. And you had a roommate already.
I had a roommate. So no, like the whole thing was I found out at the beginning of May that I was moving here, and it was towards the end of May that I had to leave.
Yeah, you had
so
a month.
I only really had a month to figure out where I was gonna live.
Yeah.
Who you were gonna live with.
Who I was gonna live with.
Yeah.
How you're gonna get your things there.
How I'm gonna get my things there.
I know, it's so crazy.
It was insane. So I had 2 to maybe 2.5 weeks in between the time I graduated to move here. But I also, no one realized I had to sell everything I owned in Boise already. You guys were like, you got to keep what you have to a car.
Yeah.
So, because I couldn't take a U-Haul.
We were definitely not renting a U-Haul
Nope.
for clothes you've had since you were a sophomore in high school. So, but yeah, I kept telling you, said, well, it's not going to fit. It's not going to fit. And then finally I gave you the money to get your cargo bag.
Yeah.
So you could put a little more stuff in there. But really, it was you mostly had clothes, a TV, some other stuff.
I know,
your
but
typical
the furniture
college stuff
you had at Boise was all stuff you got like at secondhand stores or on Marketplace anyway. So it wasn't anything you were really tied to.
Not really. No, it was just more like figuring out because I moved. It was just a crazy time. I graduated a week later. I moved out of the place I was currently living at, then was staying with a friend until I moved. That whole month was like crazy. And I had to figure out, there was points where I posted things on Facebook Marketplace and I was like, I'm selling this dresser for $30. And I thought that was cheap. It was a decent dresser, but it wasn't like amazing or anything.
Were you able to sell all of it, or did you have to finally give some of it away?
What I wanted to do was get everything out of the first house I was living in, sell it all before I went to my friend's house to stay there.
Yeah.
Because I was like, I don't want to bring everything over to her place.
No,
it didn't work like that at all.
Oh, really?
No. I even posted my bed for free for a week and no one picked it up.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah. So I had to move everything to my friend's house. We put it in the garage and then I just marked everything as free. And I just gave it all away.
Okay.
Well, do you think one of the reasons for that is because so basically all the students were either going home for the summer or whatever? I mean, it seems like one of those things where your timing was bad. Like if you were trying to get rid of that furniture in the fall when people are moving back to the door or back to their apartments or whatever, you may have unloaded all of it or even gotten a little bit of money for it.
Yeah, maybe, probably, but there wasn't a lot of students there. Everyone had left already at that point, but I just thought maybe someone would want it.
You're in Boise. It's a pretty big city. Yeah. Like, how could you not sell a dresser for $30?
Yeah,
totally
it was very stressful, and through all of this, I had my cat, so I was moving him from my old place to my friend's place, then on the road, and then here, and I like by the end of it, like, you know, you guys have Roxy, but a cat's a little different. He can't like go to the bathroom outside. You know, he needs a litter box and stuff.
Yeah.
So
I know, but you're a good cat mom. Like you took
Thanks.
him to the vet when you got here because he wasn't behaving, and you thought he was mad, and his losing hair.
He was losing hair.
So you're a really good cat mom, but you're always have been very resourceful. So
You're very resourceful about just, I need this.
Oh my gosh.
I need a random roommate in Corpus Christi, Texas. And then like, bang, you called me and like, I'm going to be living with some dude. And I'm like, whoa. What's going on? Like, who is this guy? Like, from Mom and I's perspective, you had done zero research, but in defense of two things. Number one, young people just play that way.
Yeah.
They can get away with it. And I remember doing that when I was young. And number two, you've always been good about sort of, you know, you have 2 or 3 boxes that something needs a check. And if it does it, then you're good. You don't really have to,
and he's been a great roommate since you
he's a good guy.
Oh my God. Yeah. Awesome. I mean, it makes me want to live with guys like from here on out. You know?
All right, let's be careful about that.
Not like that, but like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, because
it's
like
like
super easy.
Well, you know how like the show New Girl, everyone's like, oh, that show's so funny and stuff like that. It really is so easy just living with the opposite gender because there is no drama.
You're right.
Yeah.
Like, I think going through Boise, I had always girl roommates and they were great and stuff like that. Ups here, downs here. I know Mia talked on her podcast and she was saying with you guys before, and she was saying how, you know, like living with your best friend can be good sometimes, but also bad. And I think just living with girls in period can be good or bad, you know?
Yeah, of course.
Because it's just the drama of it all very, but I have girlfriends. Like, that's the thing. It's just like living with them. It's just a little bit more.
It's a little easier.
It's a little easier.
A boy does not care where you're going to hang a painting on the wall.
No,
let's be honest.
absolutely.
Where a girl would be like, I don't like it there.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm definitely not
true.
trying to seem like one of those people that is like, oh, like I hate living with girls and stuff like that. It's not that at all. It's just more like it's just so easy. And I think it's just maybe though it's just the person I'm living with right now because he's just so easy.
Yeah, you guys both really just stay in your lanes. You intersect once in a while. It's always a cordial hello.
Hello, yeah. I mean, we normally just text if we need something from each other.
Like, just our living room separating the two of them, but that's how they
like,
communicate.
I mean, our whole living room is so clean all the time. If I need him to get stuff out of the laundry, I'll text him. I'll be like, hey, can you get your stuff out of the laundry?
Oh my God, he's 2 feet away.
Yeah, you're taking advantage of his kindness.
Yeah, but like I don't want to bother him. I don't know because he works from home.
Got it.
So I don't know like when he's working and when he's not. Like I kind of know his schedule, but I just don't want to bug him, you know?
No, yeah.
So
I mean, in the couple times in the couple times we've met him, I've actually not known whether to speak to him or not because he has his earbuds in.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I know that's how he does his job. So I can never, like, the one time he put his finger up, he's like, oh, sorry, you know, I'm like not with you right now.
Yeah.
You know, he was in the middle of a call. And
so that's the main thing too, is he always has his earphones in. So I don't know if I should talk. So I'm always like, hi.
You guys need to come up with a hand sign or something like, are you know, anyway.
So how do you like living? You've been in Corpus Christi now for 4 months. How do you like living here? Let's start with that. And then let's talk about your job.
Yeah.
So I like living here. It's very interesting. My coworker Taylor, who's also one of my really good friends, whenever I go out and I talk to people and they're like, where are you from? I tell them Los Angeles because that's where I was born and raised.
For sure.
So when someone asks me where I'm from, I tell them Los Angeles because that's where I'm born and raised. Well, it's really hard because people are like, you came from Los Angeles to here? How's that? I'm like, well, technically, I haven't necessarily lived in Los Angeles for 4 years. I lived in Boise for 4 years for college. So it's been a while. And Taylor loves to say, Boise was a perfect buffer.
Oh, it kind of is.
That's really funny. Yeah, I guess it makes sense for sure.
Which is true because everyone's like, how much of a culture shock is this place to you? I'm like, it's kind of like Boise, but kind of like LA. Like
it is a little bit of both, right?
It's a little bit of both.
It feels that way, yeah.
You have the beach like Los Angeles. Boise had the mountains like Los Angeles. But okay. So with
the people here are kind of like Boise people.
And what does that mean?
Everyone's really nice and welcoming. But it just, and you know, Boise loves country, and the politics at Boise is kind of like here. So
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay. So how's it like LA then? Because you said it's like LA. Is it just
the
beach?
homelessness and the dirtiness of it.
Really?
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's some
it's
dirty
really
Corpus
parts
Christi
for sure.
dirty?
Yeah, once you go more inland, it's just, you haven't seen it because we've just gone on Ocean Drive with you.
Yeah.
Okay,
So
okay.
Denise, so
So-
for the record, Denise and I have only been here for this trip about what?
24 hours.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just 24 hours.
Okay,
now,
so the homelessness and the dirtiness remind you of Los Angeles.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay,
It's really sad.
that is sad.
Yeah, that's what.
All right. So let's talk about the morning of Tuesday, whatever that was, and you came into work for your very first time.
So, day one, I work for KRIS 6 News, KRIS, and I'm a news producer. So, pretty much what I do is I write everything the anchor, aka the person who's on air on the camera talking, says. And I decide which stories go where and in order.
So
I'm
your
the brains behind.
Yeah,
whole show.
for sure. But your first day, you weren't that. You
No.
were walking in green. And what was the environment? How was everybody? How was your first day?
My first day was great. I mean, my training process, normally the training process that they told me it normally is they just throw people into it. Well, for Scripps is now taking a step back, and they're like, okay, why are people not staying as a news producer? And it's because one, it's stressful, and two, you kind of threw them into it, you know?
Yeah.
So they're taking a new step at like different training process. And I was the first one they did this training process with. So the first 2 weeks was mainly me meeting people of the station, figuring out what their jobs are and how they relate with my job.
Oh,
Right.
that's a great way to learn about all the different departments.
Yeah, I mean, I met everyone. I met HR. I met all the anchors. I met all the editors. I met all the camera people.
Oh, very cool.
Just everything that goes into the whole job and how the whole station works together.
Oh, and they didn't do that before.
No.
Oh my God. Okay. So then,
I'm sure they had like a day where they introduced, but for the most part, they just threw them into it, meaning like they started their first show 3 days later.
Wow.
that's frightening.
That's
Yeah.
pretty intense.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So you're 4 months in. How do you like it?
I still love it. I mean, it's stressful for sure. You come in, you have a show that you have to have everything done by
A certain time,
yeah,
right?
like 15 minutes before the show. You're supposed to have everything done.
That's really crazy.
And news
Yeah.
is just constantly pouring in, right? Phones are
Absolutely.
ringing.
Yeah.
People are saying, oh, we're going to drop in this and we're switching that and all that stuff, right?
Well, yeah, and there's new updates coming out about this, and
Sure.
oh, this person got shot in the ass down the street. So you got
Is that like a
that's
thing?
an actual story.
Was that a top story?
It was breaking news, but we took out the ass part that he got shot in the ass. We just said he got shot, but everyone in the news station's laughing and they're like, he got shot in the ass.
Oh my God.
This sheriff at a local sheriff's department county sat down and his gun went off and shot him in the butt cheek and the back of the leg.
Oh, God. That's horrible.
And that's breaking news.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
yeah.
love it.
Well, it's
I
just
love
we're
it.
local, so
I
it's
love
not
it.
we do some local story. We try to get as much local things out as possible, and then we go national.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
So, yeah.
So,
So give us a crazy story other than the ass shooting.
Well, there's a lot with news, and I find this to be true. Before I even started working in news, people were like, it's really hard because news is always bad news,
I
know?
Yeah.
And so I've heard a lot of sad stories within my job.
Of course.
So a lot of times one story I heard that was really sad was like there was these few high schoolers that were racing against each other.
drag racing.
Yeah, and they were racing against each other after school right before graduation. This is like one of the first weeks I was here, and one of the car flipped and killed 3 of them.
Oh,
Yeah, and then the other car that didn't get flipped, the driver was under charges and things like that, and he ended up killing himself a few months later. So, you know, it's really sad to see how stories unfold and how people's lives are changed by traumatic things.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I mean, he lost his friends, and then he was going to be up on criminal charges. That's just terrible.
Yeah. So... but you know, that's my job. It's like, it's kind of, the sad part is it happens like that where, it is bad news, but I don't think I would have a job if there wasn't bad news. So it's really like double-edged sword, or how do you say
for
it?
sure.
It's true.
Totally.
But like you said, you even visited, like you guys do local news on like local businesses. Like you said, there's a really cool thrift store and you guys did a segment on that. Like, do you ever do cool things where like, you're like, oh, I want to go visit that?
Yeah. I mean, we did a story about this sky bar that was opening up across the bridge to Portland. And
what's Portland? Another city?
Another city across the harbor bridge. Okay. And pretty much what happened was it's like a sky bar, but like they did like a soft opening. So they were just doing it for a weekend, and I found out about it, and I was like, my friend Lauren, who I made here, I was like, Lauren, let's go. I have a day off on this weekend.
That's the perks of working at a newsroom. Like
I know everything that's going on. Yeah. Like it's awesome. So I feel like I'm more in like aware of what's going on in this city than I did in Boise or LA, and I lived longer there than I did. Well,
Mom and I would agree. I mean, you're way more up on current events than you've ever been, than we've ever known you to be. Out of all of our children, you were sort of always the one who was behind everyone else in terms of like, you know, major events, major things breaking or whatever. And you'd be like, wait, what's going on?
Yeah.
It is kind of crazy. Out of all 3 girls, you are doing news because you were the least like news interested person.
I was very up to date with celebrity news.
That's true. You were. All right. So I have a question for you. Since you work at the local news station and you spend time with the local anchors, you guys socialize and you go out. Do the local anchors ever get recognized when you guys are out at a bar? Like, because they're local celebrities, really. I mean, I am from a big city, Chicago. Whenever we saw our local news people out, we'd be like, oh my gosh, there's so-and-so. Does that ever happen to you guys?
When we go to the Hooks game, which is a minor league baseball team here.
What are their names?
The Hooks.
Oh, the Hooks. Okay.
It's a minor league baseball team here.
Sure.
We'll go there and they'll get recognized and stuff like that. But it's because there's a lot of older people when we go out. Not as much young people watch the news.
Oh, that is. So I find that really interesting. I would never even have thought that like young people wouldn't know who these anchors are because they don't watch the news.
They don't get their news from the 11 o'clock or the 5 o'clock or whatever.
That's so surprising.
Yeah.
Oh, it makes total sense.
I mean, they get all their news from like TikTok, Twitter, you know, all that.
Oh, do any of these girls have a TikTok?
My friend Taylor, who's an anchor, doesn't have a TikTok. My friend Cordero, who's a reporter, has a TikTok. Okay. So he'll post on there and stuff, but most of them have Instagrams.
Got it. Okay. So, all right. So I guess we should ask you the question that we've asked the other 2 girls, which is, how did you feel when you heard we were going to sell our home, your childhood home?
I mean, I felt sad for sure. It definitely was one of those things where I was like, wow, like I'm not going to have somewhere to go back to, like a home base.
Yeah.
But I'm like 22 and I've been out of the house since I was 18. So I've had that time to come back and see the house with my college friends and then post-college, things like that. And I knew it was just the right move for you guys. I mean, for the girls, I understand why they're so upset. It's not that I'm not upset. It's my childhood home. But I had that time to part ways with it because at 22 now, I'm already living on my own. And I would only really come back like once a year, maybe twice.
That's true.
But you did come back the last month we were there. and I appreciated it. You surprised everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was really nice.
And it ended up being a really sort of sweet visit to have all 5 of us under the same roof again. But tell us about your trip home.
So they switched my schedule one week so I could work weekends, and so I ended up having a 4-day weekend
Before your week of weekends started. Yeah.
Yes. So I was able to do that, and I was like, I texted my dad when I found out. I found out 2 days before, and I told him, I was like, I want to come home and say goodbye to the house and see everyone. Booked a flight, and I came home and I saw everyone, and I got to see all of Mom's friends too, which was awesome.
Yeah, I mean, nobody was.
It was a
Mom was
surprise
in the
for
middle
me.
of the middle of a little get together with her girlfriends, and you basically just waltzed into the backyard where Mom and about 10 friends or however many and your sisters were. Tell me about that.
They all looked at me like a ghost. They were all like, wait a minute, you're here? You know?
Because none of us knew. It was a surprise. All I knew was Dad.
Yeah. So everyone was surprised, and it was so nice. I mean, Mom's friends are all so great. So everyone was so excited to see me. And the girls were excited to see me. And it was honestly one of those nice moments. It was like the last moment I was going to have coming home, surprising people at that house.
Yeah,
that
for
is
sure.
true, because we sold the house. We were out 2 weeks later.
Yeah. So it was definitely a special moment for me, for sure.
Yeah, it was a special weekend for me too. I mean, I slept like a baby that night, like just knowing all my kids were back under one roof.
Yeah.
One last time. It was great.
It's
It was a
really
good
nice,
feeling.
yeah.
Everybody was it was good vibes all around. Mom
Yeah.
and I were excited for our version of the trip. Ellie was super excited to be going off to college.
Not happy about the house being sold.
No, for sure.
But I don't think it really hit her then, though.
Yeah,
No.
it hadn't. It was a sweet goodbye.
It was, because everyone, and Mia
Yeah.
wasn't crying yet.
No, she was
so
not.
when you were there, Dad is right. It was a sweet goodbye when you were there, but then everything took a really bad turn 2 weeks later.
It all went off the rails when we locked up the pod.
I mean, could you imagine going off to college your first year and not ever being able to come back to the house, not bringing friends back for spring break, not being able to see it at Christmas or Thanksgiving? I mean, Thanksgiving, you did not spend your first Thanksgiving with us because they only give you 2 days off of school anyway. But could you imagine your first Christmas break not coming back to your home?
Well, that was the thing. And that's why I said earlier that I was very lucky, because I'm 22 now. So now I had all this time to come back with my college friends and things like that. And I know it would have been so hard to not have, like, it was a home base, and we don't really necessarily have that home base now.
Yeah. So Ellie really, legitimately.
No, and it makes sense. I'm not saying that I don't understand why they're crying or upset.
You haven't.
Like,
you haven't said that.
I
No,
totally
you've never-
understand.
you've been very supportive of how they're dealing with all this.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's so fair for them, but also it's like, it's one of those things where you guys have been talking for a while, and we want you guys, we're off at college now living our lives. Like, you guys should also be off living your lives. Like, it doesn't make any sense why we have to have a home base for you guys to just stay at,
So let me ask one question. What is it that you miss about LA?
Parker was never a fan of LA though, so I don't know if she's going to even
But
have anything that she
out of all of
misses.
our children, you seem to really, I don't know, it's weird because you seem to fit the LA prototype more than the other two. Like, you were always about your hair, you were always about purses and clothing. And for the record, I mean, I just want to make sure everybody who's listening knows it's not like she was a pampered princess. Like, Parker was always on the grind, finding jobs.
Yeah.
I remember you were working out of somebody's garage, some little Armenian kid's garage, packing iPhone car holders for Amazon just so you can make fast cash to buy your own clothes.
Yeah, now thinking about it, I think it was all a scam.
Well,
he actually sold the product.
He sold the product, but I was doing the fake reviews online.
Oh God. Okay. Oh my God. All right. Well, but the point is that you've always had a job ever since you turned 16. And in high school, I think you had 2 jobs at one point. You were babysitting and also working, I I think maybe at the warehouse when you were doing both, but you've always liked nice things. I've told everyone this, and you've always bought them yourself.
Yeah.
So,
you've always sported them on Instagram, and you're all about like.
So you are very much an LA type of person in the sense
there's
that
an imagery factor. Yeah,
absolutely.
You like nice things. You have nice things. You always keep your hair nice. You always have your makeup nice. Like there is a certain LA factor about you. So, that's pretty, that's accurate. So what, I just know that you've never been a fan of Los Angeles, but is there anything that you miss at all?
I would have to say that I miss how like much things you can do. Like on a Monday night, there's like 3 concerts going on.
Oh, that's a good point.
There's so many new places popping up in LA, like restaurants.
Yeah.
It's like, let's go to this new restaurant. Heard it's amazing, 5 stars. And we'll go and it's amazing. So I think I miss that the most. And also the food. Yeah.
Okay. So you're 22. You're living in Corpus Christi. You're from Los Angeles. Do you still get that question from people? Like, do you know any celebrities? Because that's always the question it seems people get when they find out you live in LA.
Yeah, I kind of, it's interesting you say that because I don't get that many questions about have you met any celebrities or anything like that. A lot of people don't ask me that, and never in college, but in college, in fairness, a lot of Californians went to Boise State.
Yeah.
So
you've all seen celebrities.
So everyone's like,
everybody saw Shaq at California Chicken Cafe.
Yeah.
We're over it.
But just mostly people are like, oh, you're from LA. And I'm like, yeah. And they're like, oh, that makes sense. And I'm like, what does that mean? And a lot of times it's when I'm out, and a lot has to do with the clothes I wear. I'm very like out there with it. Like one time I wore this super fashionable like feathery top. It's pink. And these 2 people, and they were at a bar, and they were talking to me and my friend Taylor, and they're like, yeah, we're from blah, 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 which is like a small town in like Texas. And like, I don't even remember what it was. It was like, I'd never heard of it. And they're like, where are you guys from? And, she was telling them where she's from. And I was like, I'm from LA. And they're like, oh, that makes sense. And stuff like that. Like, okay, I don't care, So, it's definitely the way I dress too shows. It's the outer part of me shows LA a lot, but the inner I feel like is not so much LA. So,
what does that mean? What does inner LA mean to you?
I think with LA, it was very difficult. And I've heard this before from people who are like, oh, my friend moved to LA. I was like, oh, good luck. They'll have 2 friends.
Oh, it's true.
In LA, it's very difficult, especially being younger in LA, having really good friends, because everyone wants to be famous. Everyone wants to seem cool. Everyone wants to be like on like the like coming up and things.
Yeah,
like
everybody's chasing the next shiny object, and
Yeah.
when your party's over, then all of a sudden your friends sort of dissipate onto the next thing, right?
Absolutely. I mean, when I was in high school, I made like 2 really good friends. I had Allie, which was my best friend since elementary school. I had my friend Taylor. Like I had at least 4 or 5 good friends, but like
But high school Taylor is different than Taylor you work with now.
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
got it.
Just
Okay.
to be clear.
Yeah.
You have a magnetism for Taylors. It
I
seems.
do.
And they're both good people.
Yeah,
They really are.
But I mean, I lived there 18 years and I ended up with only 5 good friends from there, like, which is fine. But like, those were my 5 good friends. I didn't really have like acquaintances or anything like that, and that kind of was how they were too. They only had either 2 or 5 good friends. So it's just very difficult to find genuine people in LA. That's to wrap it all up, to say it faster and easier. Yeah.
Okay. So so when you say my inner is different than my outer, that's what you mean. Like inner meaning that it's just a little more challenging to meet quality people.
No, I'm saying my inner is different than my outer, meaning my outer is LA and
Oh, no, that's what I'm saying. But your inner is like more sincere, more genuine.
Yes.
Got it. And
Yeah.
so,
And is that what Boise and Corpus Christi mean to you? Like
Yeah.
what does an inner Corpus Christi look like?
oh yeah, that's a good question.
I mean, I've had the opportunity to work somewhere that has so many different elements and jobs within the company and within the station. I've met so many people, but all genuine good people at the station. And so it's very difficult for me to necessarily say like, oh yeah, all Corpus Christi people are like this, because yeah, I've been here for 4 years.
4 months.
4 months.
Sorry.
Yeah.
4 months. But I'm normally working. That's normally where I'm at. Like I'll go out with them, but normally when I'm going out with them, I'm there to get closer with them, not so much meet like other people. Like I'm willing to meet other people, of course, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So
But they're probably, my guess is you're in a building with so many people. They're probably a good, what's the word? A good
Representation?
example. Thank you. They're probably a very good representation of your community at large.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. So that's kind of how it is, you know?
So everyone's really nice. is what you're
Everyone's really
saying.
nice. Yeah. And then I have my friend Lauren, who I met through, and this isn't an ad or anything, but I met through Bumble BFF.
What is that?
So Bumble is this dating app, but then they started making a feature called Bumble BFF. So you are
BFF means best friends forever.
Yes.
Okay. And so you can meet other people in your area if you're like.
Yeah, not guys, but girls.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, and you met her through that.
Yeah, so I met her through that, and we Snapchatted, and it took like a week or two for us to actually like make set stone plans. But once we did, we like hit it off right away.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's great.
Yeah.
Is
it
that
was
a very popular app to use when you move to a new town and don't know anybody?
I didn't think so. I had a lot of friends in Boise when I left.
Well, you're in college. It's so
Yeah, of
easy
course.
to make friends in college. So yes.
Yeah, but it was one of those things where it was so nice because I had like my friend KRIS, who was like always down. She was my buddy towards the end of it with my friend Emma, and all three of us would hang out. But, you know, if they were busy, I had my other friend to hang out with, you know, like it was like,
You had
oh,
a
what are
circle,
you doing
yeah.
tonight? So it was always like someone was available to hang out. I always had someone, and I was just very lucky because I was a very social person. So I made a lot of friends in college. So I came here. I'm like, this adult life is kind of lonely.
Oh. It is.
It
Adult
sucks
life
being
is.
a grown up, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Adult life is lonely. God, if we had Bumble BFF when like I was an adult, or you know what would have been great? Like Bumble MFF. Moms, friends forever.
It sounds like something totally different.
But I guess, you know, we met moms at like Mommy and Me. So, okay. I love the Bumble BFF. I think it's fantastic for young people.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I don't know how it works for guys because, you know, guys have egos. So they're like, I'm not going on Bumble BFF. But
Oh, that's true.
Yeah,
I never
no,
thought of
guys
that.
aren't
Oh my
doing it.
God. There's no guy that's on Bumble BFF.
well, just go to a bar and watch a game or something. You're going to meet friends if you're a guy. It's that simple.
So it's
you
only
know,
made for
we're like
girls.
2-track mind.
yeah. And they also on Bumble have this thing. It's like Bumble, something about like trying to like Bumble Connect, where you can connect people like through your jobs, like say what your job is and try to
Oh,
connect through other jobs.
That's a great idea.
Great idea. Yeah. Maybe I went on it and I saw like 2 people and I was like, yeah, I don't think this is there yet, but
Yeah.
it's good.
It's
Okay.
not. It's not the LinkedIn they want it to
So you met Lauren. You've met people at work. You're feeling comfortable.
be. Just cut to the chase. Like, tell us about your church dates.
Yeah, the dating pool here sucks.
Aw.
It's so bad.
So you called me. I made a reference, but you called me maybe a weekend or something
Yeah.
like that, and you said a young gentleman had asked you out on a church date. For the people who aren't from the South and don't, I could quickly figure it out because I grew up in a rural environment. But for the people who aren't from the South, tell us what a church date is.
I don't even know really. It's just going on a date to church on a Sunday, right?
Yeah, that's what I thought it
Yeah.
was. I don't know what a church date is either, but it sounds so.
Well, he first started off the conversation with like, do you go to church? And I said no. And he was like, do you, I was going to ask you to go to church with me on Sunday. And I said, I was just like, yeah, I don't go to church. And so the conversation just
I
kind
think
of
you should
fizzled
do
out.
it.
I think you should too.
Oh, absolutely.
And report
not.
back.
You went to a Catholic high school. You've
Yeah.
been baptized, confirmed.
But that doesn't, just because I've been
Oh, not
baptized and
confirmed,
I've baptized doesn't mean,
Not confirmed.
no.
Sorry. Yeah. Baptized.
Just because I've been baptized doesn't mean I practice the
I think
religion.
you should try something different.
You could
I
use a
don't
little
think so.
Jesus or
I
Muhammad
absolutely no.
or
Not.
Gandhi or whatever. You could use all those guys.
say
I'm down
try
to
it.
be spiritual and go to yoga and stuff like that and meditate, but like I'm just not about.
Try it.
And,
no.
and when have you done that? And when
No.
have you been to yoga? Tell us about this.
I said I'm down to do
Tell
it.
us
I
about
never
this
said I was
mythological
gonna.
yoga and
I never said I have.
TM you've been
I said just
practicing.
the thing is I would be okay with going to church, but the politics that come with church, I just don't agree with, and especially in Texas, that's just my opinion. So
Okay.
Fair enough.
All right. So, all right, let's get to it. You've been in Corpus Christi
Yeah.
for 4 months now.
Yeah.
Let's hit your top 5.
Yeah.
Okay.
Break them out. Grab the list. Top
So-
5 likes of Corpus Christi as told. Dramatic reading. The top 5 likes of Corpus Christi, Texas, as told by Parker Gordon.
thank you very much. So, some of these I've already talked about, but so you won't be a surprise, but we'll just go over them again.
Yeah, they're your top 5. So list them.
So I have my top 5 good things. My first one is like coworkers, friends, all really great people.
Yeah.
Definitely gonna forever remember them throughout my life, especially
Aw.
since it's like the start of my career and it's like they have really
Made an impact.
made a huge impact. I mean, the thing I've realized is the reason I wanted to leave my last job was because I had one coworker friend named Zandria who I'm really good friends with still, but the rest of them I didn't necessarily like. They kind of made a toxic environment.
Yeah.
And so coming here, I was really scared about that toxic environment happening.
For sure. That's a valid concern.
And a lot has to do with the heads, the managers, just letting that happen. And I know my last manager kind of,
Didn't squash it.
didn't squash it, also contributed to it.
Aw.
So I was like, I don't want to be a part of a company that does that,
Of course.
Yeah.
So I was really nervous
Sure.
moving here, and it's been amazing.
Aw.
Everyone's so great. Everyone's
That's great.
so nice.
Well, yeah, I mean, I can relate. I just, I had to get one more test done for Roxy at this one place where we're going to take her, Barkeritaville. Shout out to Barkeritaville, who's going to house Roxy for a couple days. But I had to get one more test at the vet, and the girl on the phone, Sierra, she said, well, welcome to Texas. And it was just like everywhere you go, it's kind of like, it's really funny because, on one hand, there's a duality here. You get, don't mess with Texas. But then you get, welcome to Texas.
Yeah, I know.
It's like, what the hell were we doing? What kind of dance is it we're playing here?
Yeah,
but
that's
everybody's been
true.
so great to Mom and I just in our travels and everything.
No, absolutely.
Really, really nice people. We have tons of stories to tell in Texas Part 2 coming next week. So
Okay. So your coworkers was
Yeah, and also my coworkers are just hilarious, like funny people, like
Aw.
it was funny. Someone was saying they were like, good thing like HR isn't down here because this shit we say. But I think just news people are just like hilarious people to begin. You got to have a personality to work in news,
Yes.
Yeah.
And so you look
and it's kind of more personality because it's all bad stuff. But
that's true. You have to be lighthearted. Like
there's
you have
got
to
to be a
like
little bit of dark humor.
yeah,
Yeah.
dark humor.
dark
Yeah.
humor. And okay, so I think it's safe to say you actually enjoy going to work every day.
I do.
Oh, that's
for
awesome.
sure.
That's fantastic. That is most people don't have that, just so you know.
Yeah, and I mean, ask me in 6 months how I feel, because
Okay. We'll check
Yeah,
in
you're
with you in
brand
6
new
months.
still. You're brand new.
yeah. But I'm really happy with the way things are working out. at
Your,
work
Okay.
right
your
now.
career is off to a good start because you have good people supporting you
Yeah.
at
Exactly.
the office. That's great.
That's the thing is they absolutely support me and see me doing well.
Great.
Yeah.
Okay, so what's your number 2?
My apartment.
Oh, that's a good one.
It is a nice
Your
apartment.
apartment is so nice. So we've
beautiful.
had the chance to see it. I mean, James moved her in, but I saw it for the first time last night. Her room is so big. Her bathroom is big. Closet's huge. Her living area is so nice. Her kitchen, everything. You picked a really great apartment. And it's
Yeah.
two blocks from the beach.
Yeah, not bad.
It's 2 blocks from the beach and 3 minutes from my work and 7 minutes to downtown. So
That's a great number 2.
beach, out with my buddies drinking and work.
Oh my God.
Okay. There's a trifecta.
Yeah.
That makes number 2 on the list.
Like I said, she finds something that checks 2 or 3 boxes and she's like, I'm in.
Yeah. Well, the next one goes to night scene.
Okay,
so.
go ahead.
So I like the night scene. Like it reminds me a lot of Boise, whereas Boise had like a downtown area where you could bar hop around and everything, and everyone's nice, and that's what Corpus Christi has. But also there's a south side where they have a few bars there, and the south side, if for anyone that doesn't know, that's kind of where the Target is, the mall is, things like that.
Got it.
Whereas
Okay.
whereas I live close to downtown.
Got it. Okay, so downtown is fun.
And then the beach.
Number 4. That's a good number
That's a good
4.
one.
That's a great one.
Yeah, I mean, I
Do you
love the
spend a
beach.
lot of time there?
I don't spend as much time as I should, as I want to. I think just with my days off, I get really tired. I'm one of those people where I want a buddy to go with, you know?
Of
I feel like if I
course.
go alone, I'll be like, this is fun. And then I'll sit there and I'll be like, okay, now I'm bored.
All right, so you have to get on Bumble BFF and find a beach friend.
Yeah, you got to find a beach friend
Yeah,
for whatever your
absolutely.
day offs are.
Yeah. And then the 5th thing is Whataburger.
Oh.
Whataburger.
Why are you whispering it?
Have you heard of ASMR?
No.
Whataburger.
What's ASMR?
Oh, it's the way you talk and you
Yeah.
make people fall asleep.
Yeah.
Oh my
Oh,
God. Oh my
oh.
God. People will go on there.
Oh, that.
Yes.
That's why I was like,
familiar.
Whataburger ASMR.
So what's your favorite burger there?
Pickles.
Oh, I like the patty melt, and shout out to my coworker Frankie for telling me about it. Stop.
Stop it.
Mustard. mayo. Go on.
I love the patty melt.
And
shout out
Frankie, and
to
Frankie.
Yeah, sorry, I
Go ahead,
interrupted
go ahead, yeah.
Frankie.
Frankie told me about it, and it's so good.
Is Frankie a coworker?
Yeah, Frankie's a coworker.
Is
and a
Frankie
friend.
from Texas?
Yes, he is.
Oh, so he
So
knows.
Frankie knows.
Yeah, Frankie knows.
Frankie knows what's up.
Okay, those are really good top 5s.
Yeah,
Yeah,
now let's
very
get
good.
let's get to the bad stuff.
Let's
Okay,
get
so
to
you
the-
have 5 bottoms.
Every city has an ugly underbelly. Go on.
Unfortunately.
So the next one is the road/drivers. The roads. So for anyone who comes to Corpus Christi, don't expect good roads at all. Expect your alignment to be messed up.
Oh, they don't take care of their roads.
So what happened was, and this is what I asked my coworkers, the city council didn't take care of the roads for about 5 years. We're like, we're halting on taking care of the roads. We're not going to take care of it. Didn't
Who
do
does that?
anything. Idiots.
That's unbelievable.
Well, now it's going to take 20 years to fix those 5 years.
Oh,
Wow.
I thought honestly,
Wow.
because there was Hurricane Harvey here. I thought it was from Hurricane Harvey. That's how bad the roads are. My coworker Scott was telling me, he's like, it's literally literally a pothole, like jumped together with a little bit of asphalt and then a pothole.
Wow, that's
the
terrible.
roads
but
here.
what, you don't know the reason why they just decided to stop? Was it just
They were just-
financial reasons? or
They were putting the money towards something else.
They allocated it toward a different
what, toward the
area.
bridge or something like that they're
I
building?
don't know.
You don't know. Okay.
My coworkers didn't necessarily say what they put the money
I
towards.
wanna get to the bottom of
but
this.
Yeah.
We'll have to find out.
Yeah, I know.
It
Okay.
could be the harbor bridge that now is not going to be worked on at all.
Oh,
That
okay.
everyone put money towards. So that's
All right, so number 1 is the roads are terrible.
And drivers.
Oh, and drivers. Oh,
Texas
Tower-
drivers are horrible. I thought Boise drivers were bad. LA drivers are horrible too, but like Texas is the worst.
In what way? Explain.
Okay, first of all, I cling to my life driving on the freeway because they're driving so fast and like literally like jerks. They'll ride your tail
Bumper?
end,
Your bumper?
yeah, all the way to where you're going, not even go around you.
Why are you looking at me?
Dad does that, and he's not from Texas. But
I did not do that.
Dad does that. He'd be a great driver here.
They're just rude. They don't let you get over like when you need to.
Wow, this sounds so much like Los Angeles.
Yeah,
I'm
you should
really
be used to
shocked.
it. You should be like-
totally
It's worse.
You should be
though.
Mad Max on these streets. You should know what's up.
No, it's worse than LA.
Okay.
Because
Okay.
LA, there's so much traffic that people have to slow down. Here, there's not that much traffic, so people go like 80 and a 65.
Oh, okay. That makes it
Right.
difficult. Okay, so
Yeah.
that's your number 1 with the roads and the drivers. What's your
And
number
just
2?
stay away from the potholes because we just got you that car.
I know.
All right.
The next is the fashion, because I always feel like I'm the most fashionable one there.
Okay, what does Texas fashion look like?
I don't even know. I mean, everyone just kind of dresses like not out there at all. I think just I liked LA a lot, like the fashion sense. And this was kind of in Boise because a lot of people in Boise are from California. So they had great style. It's just the style aspect of like walking down the street. Yeah, I miss it.
People dressing up. So
For sure.
people here wear what, like more shorts and flip flops when they go out?
Yeah.
Oh, that's hard when you come from a city like Los Angeles where everyone is dressing cute. I mean, really, everyone dresses cute.
Yeah, even just to go to Starbucks.
Agreed. Agreed.
And then
except for me. Go on.
The next one is the dating pool. Yeah.
I don't understand this because you're telling me there's young people out, there's a nightlife, and there's a bad dating pool. I honestly am going to say I don't believe you. I think it's your generation. All kids your age complain that there's no one to meet. That's my 2 cents.
Because you're all weird.
I think so.
Well, okay, so let's just set the table for a second. There's a military base around here, right?
Yeah, so Navy.
Okay, so there's a Navy base. League. You have a minor league baseball team.
Okay, you're literally listing all of the worst type of men on the planet.
No. I mean, well, I'm not trying to steer you toward one or the other. In fact, it's fine with me that you don't have anyone. Yeah. But then you also have the college down the street.
Okay, so let's just unhash this. You're talking about pilots, Navy pilots.
Okay.
Who travel everywhere.
Okay.
They don't stay here for that long, 2 years.
Fair enough.
So they're not looking for a girlfriend or someone serious.
Right.
Then we have the minor league baseball players who are also not staying here long, who are trying or getting moved other places.
Right.
Then we have college student guys who aren't staying here long.
All right, you're right.
Okay,
I've listed like three.
So my whole thing
I've listed 3 very bad types of men. But all I'm saying is there seems to be, for a young girl, a bumper crop of dudes that you wouldn't necessarily find in another city. Statistically speaking, so many cities have way more women than they do men.
Yeah.
Right?
And this state in general has more men than women. So, and you have a nightlife here and
they want to take you on church dates.
Yes.
No.
Okay.
but just the main thing, and this is like something that like just to keep in mind, like Corpus Christi is kind of a tourist area, so people aren't here long.
I never heard of Corpus Christi being a tourist area.
It is.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Especially the island. So
okay.
It's more of a spring break type place.
It is, for sure, especially during the summer.
That's fair. Because when Mom first asked me what Corpus Christi was like, I said it's Daytona Beach with a Texas flag. So
it is. No, for sure. And even my coworkers told me, like, when I first got there, they're like, dating here sucks in Corpus Christi and it's all tourists.
All right.
So,
Well,
okay.
Who am I to argue? You've been here 4 months. You would know.
Okay, so let's get on to number 4.
The homelessness and how dirty it is. But it's not just homelessness of people. There's a lot of homeless animals too.
What? Do you see dogs running around?
Yeah.
Oh, that's got to be painful because I know how
It's
sensitive
really
you
sad.
are to animals.
All the shelters are filled up. Like, we've done so many stories about shelters being like, please, we are trying to give out free spay and neuter.
And nobody will do it.
No.
So everybody's animal just gets knocked up and then we have animals running the street.
Yes.
Okay.
That sucks.
Well, there's got to be an organization. And
No, they tried. Multiple organizations have come out and been like, we will do it for free. Just bring your animal in. And people are just lazy and don't want to do it. And then their animal
dogs running around.
Yes, there's kitties everywhere.
Oh goodness. Okay, that's a really bad one. Okay, that's warranted on your list for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, and then what's the 5th one?
The heat.
Ooh, that's a good one because I did not realize how humid Texas was.
It's definitely the humidity and the way it just feels. I mean, you're going from my car to like my job, and I'm just melting as I'm walking.
Yeah, it's pretty
to my
sticky
job.
out. Even right now, it's
What's the highest temperature it's been since you've been here?
It's got to be like 116 or something.
It hit that high.
Yeah, it was heat advisories as of that high.
Ooh,
wow,
that's really brutal. Plus the humidity. I mean, Dad and I can't. I honestly did not know that Texas was humid. I don't know what I was thinking. I knew it was hot. I did not know that Texas was humid. I didn't know. I don't know. I live under
Yeah,
a rock.
there were places even in Central Texas where, it was you just expect a dry heat that we're so used to on the West Coast or in Arizona or wherever. But yeah, there's a little bit of moisture in the air for sure.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So that's hard. Are you getting acclimated to that yet or no?
Not really.
Okay. Well, you still have.
I mean, I am. My hair isn't.
Oh my gosh. Well, you have a little wave to your hair, so that's
Yeah.
that kind of works for you.
A little bit.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I get it. Yeah, that humidity would kill me. So, yeah. All right. Well, those were really good tops and bottoms. Those were really good. So we appreciate you spending some time with us.
Yeah,
for
of
sure. Our
course.
little
Thank you,
Texas
Rob.
resident.
I know.
I saw the license plates on the car.
I know. I love the Texas license plate. I think it's the cutest.
I love it too. I actually am so happy that you're here.
Yeah.
It's kind of nice to be able to come visit you. I mean, it's my first visit here. I'm super excited about coming back.
Yeah.
It's a big state. There's so much to see. I don't know. I love that you picked Texas. I'm so glad you did not pick San Luis Obispo.
Yes.
I'm really glad you picked Texas.
It would have been an easy choice to come back to California, but you really went for it. And, your mother and I admire your sort of independent mindedness. You are our wild child for sure. But we also appreciate your ability to think critically on what's right for yourself. Yeah. And when you pursue that, you usually have good outcomes. So this has been refreshing in a lot of ways. It's just opened up a whole new door for us, especially because we were leaving. Like you moved before we moved.
Yeah.
And you had a big move in your own life.
Yeah.
And so
and you're handling it really, really well. I mean,
absolutely.
I know that it helps you have a good roommate. I know that it helps that you have good coworkers, but even in a situation like that, sometimes people still don't make the best of it, even though you have those two going for you. Some people don't see the good in that. And you actually have just done so well. You've noticed that you've had good coworkers and you obviously have made the best of that. You recognize you have a good roommate. You're making the best of this city and we're really, really proud of you.
Thank you.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I think definitely it's, when you don't have something and then you have something.
Oh,
it's one of those things where you're like, wow, I didn't have this before and now I do. And maybe it's something so small as your coworkers being nice to you.
But the fact that you recognize it is pretty amazing as well. Because some people could have that and never recognize it. Yeah. So, the fact that you're
being self-aware.
Yeah. And so, we wish you the best.
Thank you.
Yeah, we do.
So
I mean, it really feels
you.
great that you've just left all your little sort of pettiness and squabbles behind. It feels from college, and it's just you've totally I don't know. It feels in a lot of ways you you've been an adult for a few years now, but it feels like you really truly have this adultness about you, if that's a word. So.
Well, I just love the fact that you work in news and I get to hear stories every day. It's a different day. I'm like, what happened today at work? You're like, oh, here's a funny story, or here's something that happened, or, oh, this happened in behind the scenes. I love when we chat on the phone, you always have something good to say.
Yeah. I mean, it's never a dull moment in the news business.
That is true. Yeah. That's, I guess, more accurate.
Whether it be the content or the people.
Well, look, I'm happy you landed where you did. I was not particularly happy when you told me you were going to be a media major in college. You switched majors from business. Mom will tell you I was not happy. I just didn't want the entertainment business for any of my kids. You're skirting that line right now. I don't want you to head into the long hours that I have consistently worked. But it is good to know that you're working a position where you're actually compensated for the hours you're there.
Yeah.
And the overtime and the extra days and all that stuff.
Well, you never know. I mean, this job could turn into my whole life. Or some people go from this job to politics. Some people go from this job to working out of college. Some people go back to college after this job. So it's one of those things where it's you're just so aware about what's going on in the country that it kind of opens the doors for a lot of things.
Sure. It can parlay into anything almost.
Yeah. Well, we support you in whatever you do.
Thank
just
you.
know that if you decide to go back to college, it's on you this time.
Yeah.
All those bills are being sent to your place instead of mine this time. But we love you very much.
Love you guys.
Love you.
This was a thrill because it was the sort of complete trifecta of getting all three of our kids on the pod. Yeah. We're very proud of everything you've done so far here in Corpus Christi, and we love you so.
I love you guys.
All right, well, let's hit the beach.
Let's hit the
beach. We will see you guys next week. Tell them.
Empty nest.
Full tank.
Check the mic and make sure it sound right, boys.